Okay, what's up, everybody? This is a new video, and I was jumping here and there a little bit because I wanted to make a video about the cover letter next, but I think the cover letter is a little bit it's always very different, and it really depends on the industry that you are applying to. So it's not that I will need to stop there for a long time, because I think that you are already learning how to make a cover letter at school. So yeah, it's I'm not going to cover the cover letter, but I wanted to speak more about this job interview in the office. So yeah, that's 2024 again, and basically you got an email or the phone call. What do you do next? Now, this is very debatable, but I think the best way what has worked for me so far is that basically the first step is that you make sure that your phone is charged, keep it in, keep it connected with this kind of network, and make sure that basically you answer only to those numbers that you know that are from the country that you applied to. So don't get scammed. I encourage you to get scammed by, like, let's say that somebody from US calling me and I didn't even apply to anything in the US, then I'm not going to answer this call. But in case there will be like, let's say that I'm from the UK and I see that the UK number is first, I applied to jobs in UK, I will answer to those calls. And yeah, it's important to answer because anyone can call you basically anytime with this, to make sure that you're a real person, and so on. Maybe catch you off guard, see how you talk with them, if you're polite. So that's very important that yeah, keep your phone in. And another thing is that save those numbers that calling you. So if you know, like, for example, somebody from Amazon is going to call you, right? Then make sure that you are saving it like Craig, for example. Craig called you, so save it as Craig Amazon. So I mean, it's good because the next time that he will call you, it will be better, because there will be many stages of the interview in the office. It's not only one stage. So especially when you're applying for the good position. So I think it's good that you save those numbers. You have them in your phone available. And let's get that you get hired. You don't need those numbers anymore. Then it doesn't matter. You can delete them or whatever. But yeah, as long as you are searching for the job, save those numbers. It will be useful later. And then you don't have to search for the numbers later in case you need to settle some, I don't know, businesses about starting the new job. Yeah, and another thing, that if somebody calls you or sends you an email, make sure that your next email is also arranging a time if there is no offered time already, or the phone call. Make sure that you will get a time slot in their office already after this phone call, or maybe they are going to send you with an email later and offer you the time. But in case there is no time offered, or they are not speaking about offering a time, then arrange the time by yourself. Because that's very important that you at least get a chance. Maybe you are going to forget and they're going to forget about you and so on. Or maybe they are not even real, they are scam, then you can also identify it. And then the third point is that if it's a phone interview, that let's say that somebody catches you off guard, says that, hello, I'm Craig from Amazon, do you have like an hour to talk? Then if it's already an hour, then you know that it's going to be a job interview. That way, if this happens, then I'm going to tell you that actually it's better to ask them politely that I'm kind of busy right now, but maybe you can call again tomorrow at the same time. So maybe tomorrow is better day because you can prepare for this interview in a way that is getting you better conditions than for the others that he's going to call you. So yeah, if it's not possible, If he says that yeah, tomorrow is not possible, I'm busy, then of course say that all right, I will make time. So you can always excuse yourself in a way, and I think it's a rude thing to do a little bit, but it's something that would work for you. So you don't have to be like always anxious about it, or like, you know, immediately like answer to everything. You can just say to them basically that maybe we can talk about it tomorrow, and that will work better for you. Maybe worse for them because they cannot read what kind of person you are immediately, but still, I think it will be better. And I've had those phone interviews in my life as well. I answered them kind of right off the bat, and I kind of regret it because sometimes it's there are some tricky questions about the positions that are very specific. That basically what makes sure that you rate this job post. And let's say that you applied for another like 40-50 jobs, then this post you don't really remember what it was all about, so it's better to remind yourself, maybe read the job post again and so on. It's very important. And also, it's good to thank them for the opportunity and be polite in general. Don't swear about them. Don't swear like I don't know, if they're going to invite you for the interview, you say like heck yeah or something. You know, it's sometimes some people can get the wrong idea about it. So it's good to stay, say, how do you say, business minded in this. So yeah, that's my suggestions for the like receiving email or phone call. I think email is easier because you obviously can write and you don't have to deal with the emotions and stuff, and so on. Like, and you can arrange the time better. It's written down. You can also agree on the phone call about the time, and then they're going to send you the email later to confirm. It's also okay. But yeah, if it's an interview, then it would be better to a little bit postpone it a little bit. Let's see, preparation. Okay, so we're going to the office, but we have like, let's say like a week before this interview or 2 days before the interview, how I'm going to prepare for it. So the first thing is time management. You have to make time for the interview, and you have to make time for the studies for the interview. And it's very important. Instead of like applying for the new jobs, you should actually prepare for this, because that's very much like it's an opportunity for you that basically you were picked out of these 200 candidates, and not only you, maybe there's like 10 people more, but anyways you get the point. 10 people out of 200 is already a good one. So it's better chances for you than to apply for another like 50 jobs, because you know this 50 jobs can still decrease your chances. But if you are already 10 out of 200, it's something that you caught their eye. You know, they didn't put your CV to the other bundle or anything. It's there. You're one of their first selections. So yeah, I think it's important to make time, and important to make time for not just the interview but also to prepare for the interview. And that's yeah. And how you can prepare in general. First thing is actually to check their homepage, but I would say that before that even you can check the job post again. Make sure that you have the tab open about the job post, because there's specific requirements listed, specific expectations listed about your job, and you can compare it with the homepage that they have maybe information about this site, or information what this position is doing in their company, or what they are standing for. And it's very important because they usually, those companies put everything in the homepage. There are a few companies that are not doing that, but there are many that are putting the general information about their company in the homepage. So yeah, that's another thing to notice, and maybe even check out the ratings that in Google Maps. It's good way to check out the ratings. Maybe you know that if they have like a rating of like 1.1 or something, then might be, you know, a bad company to apply to. Okay, And in case their homepage has too much information, make sure to filter and write down. Very important thing here is to write down your own concept about it. You basically are making a summary about the homepage, the necessary information to you that you might not remember after reading it only once. So it's good to have those bullet points listed to yourself, so you can, if in case you are they're having, for example, like manuals that are like 50 pages in the homepage, then you can read them through, but make notes at the same time. And later on, you can check your own notes and make sure that, yeah, I understand this, I understand that. So that's what I want to say here, that please make sure to filter out the necessary information and make a summary about it. And then also make sure to know about their partners, clients, and competition. That's another topic that is very important because, for example, if you're going to the, I don't know, some kind of like flight industry, it's not very good if you're like don't know who is like, you know, this these bigger competitors there, or like, how you say this, if you don't know who is, for example, like Lufthansa or somebody like that, then people will see you as a stupid person and are not going to bother with hiring you because you don't even know the general knowledge about the aerial industry. So yeah, it's very important to make sure that you have the basic knowledge about who operates and also about the airplanes. Like, let's say that you don't know what is an Airbus or Boeing or some things like that, you know. If you don't know those things, then I doubt that they're going to hire you. So make sure that you know their partners and clients and competition, and also clients in the sense that who are the best clients for these kind of companies. Those that who has actually money usually, but who has money then? The ones that are like managers and traveling with their airplanes, or maybe some kind of, like, you're applying for Boeing or something, then you have to know that who are your clients who are buying those Boeing planes, you know, who are paying for it. And also who are they using, maybe has to transport the suitcases and so on. So there's a lot of things that you might be able to find out. There might not be a public information about it all the time, but there might be some things that you can check. Even in Wikipedia, it's a possibility that you just check Wikipedia and you find out all those things. And yeah, then the last one is to think about questions that will be asked. Now we're getting into that in the next slide. But yeah, these preparation things is very important, and basically these you have to make time. That's the most important thing, that you have to make a time to educate yourself about the company and about the industry in general, because that might be your competition advantage to applying for the job. And time management is like, for example, let's say in a like real life relationship, if you're like, you know, dating, you're matching somebody in Tinder and you are not making time to meet her or something, or meet him, then I mean this meeting will never happen. But if you're making time, even if you have a busy schedule, even if you're like, okay, we can meet but only for like 30 minutes, it's already a big thing. And so is this. Even if you can just study for like an hour, is already a better thing, because many people are not even doing that. Many people are just like sending more CVs and more CVs and doesn't care what anybody offers, and doesn't prepare for the interview, and so etc. And maybe they are too chill in the interview about it. It's also not a good sign if you're too chill about it, because the employer wants you to take it seriously as well, like most of the time. Of course, if you're like very highly qualified already, then maybe not, but still it's good sign that you are motivated to do it. And that's what usually young people are doing. They are very highly motivated to do any kind of job. So that's very nice, because as a young person, I remember that you don't have your own money at some point and stuff. And once you start earning your own money, you are like, wow, I can do that. It's a completely another world to you. And that's why young people are usually very motivated to do the job, because they have basically one value that is very much more important than all the other values, is the salary. And that's actually quite a fair topic as well. Like it's fair that their value is highest value is salary, because they are starting with their lives, and it's very important that they can move away from their parents. They will need a place to live. Might need a car. They might need to spend on the public transport for their own food now, and so on. Like there might be a lot of things about it. So yeah. But anyways, enough of this preparation topic. Let's go for the arrival. So I brought out some points that I've seen that arrival can be actually. Let's say that you are very scared to arrive, because usually people like me, for example, we are not very chill. I know that there's many people that are completely chill and not anxious at all, but whenever I went to my job interview, I was super crazily worrying about it for the last night, and you are not sleeping very well. You might having some digestion issues and so etc. There's millions of reasons to be anxious in this, and it's totally okay. When the employer can see it, at least they know that you're taking it seriously. If you're too chill, might be shooting you in the back later, but might not. But let's see. So the first thing, of course, take a shower, but brush your teeth and make sure that your breath doesn't stink, and make make yourself smell good. But that goes without saying. So I will say about dress casually or politely, because you can think that maybe some jobs, yes, you can basically just go with your Slav lookout or something that is going to be sweatpants and some maybe some shirts of this sports clothes, basically, right? Might be very misleading at some points. Maybe not for all the jobs, and maybe if the boss is also fan of these, might work out very perfectly. But in general, I would say that the first meeting, I would not go with sports clothes. I'm very sorry. I know that many of you like it, but I also like them at home. But I'm not wearing them outside, because it's kind of some people might consider it rude. I know that, of course, there's in the UK there's a lot of banter and stuff spreading around. Sorry, but there, yes, might be working out, because you're making people laugh and stuff. But in general, I would not do that. Especially when you're going to the higher level job. The higher you go, the more politely you have to choose your clothes too. So yeah, I wouldn't go with a suit fully, because it's also usually not, especially when it's an entry level job, then there's no reason to go with a suit. But it would be good to have at least the jeans or something more formal, or more casual, or just some random shirt. You can be just even just black shirt, and if you have button shirt, then it's already more polite and stuff. And for the girls, I highly recommend that it's okay to go with skirt as well and stuff. But I also think that the best way for the women is to dress up with I don't know, some dark black jeans and some sweater maybe might be good, and so on. Because yeah, I think dressing is actually something that leaves the first expression to your employer. So might be very important to follow this. And yeah, also about the girls, sorry if some of you like to show off your boobs or something, but sometimes some employers might be thinking about it in a wrong way. So I wouldn't do that. Like, don't display them that much. Maybe just put some, cover up for the first meeting at least. Maybe for the second meeting it doesn't matter anymore because it's already in the second rounds. But to leave the good first impression is that you're there for the work. You're not there for some relationships. So yeah. But of course, like I think makeup is okay because that's maybe catches the eye instead of like. But yeah, I'm not so sure about the women's side. Maybe you know better than me about this, but it is just what I would suggest and what I would see as an employer. So yeah, if like somebody is coming with their boobs out and stuff, then I'm going to check for the boobs if I'm like the employer. So that's the issue here. And then make sure to take a notebook or a laptop. Now, I wouldn't recommend laptop so much. I think nowadays it's fine, but the downside of the laptop is that you are maybe too much like writing there and checking your screen instead of like making an eye contact. And many employers and managers, they are appreciating a good eye contact. That's something that I'm personally struggling with as well. That's why I don't really go for the camera in my videos. But that's very important to have actually a decent eye contact. And the notebook is better because when you take a laptop and you're not like writing anything, it's just open there. Then they might have questions like, why are you not writing anything if you're like making eye contact? But notebook is more like for the notes. You just write down the most essential stuff there. And remember, if you're taking a notebook and they are publicizing the salary, or you're writing a salary there, then make sure that this information is hidden. Don't check it in later on a bus or something that you go home with. Or in the metro, because if you're having a notebook and you're like taking the paper out later, then it might be that some random people on the street can see the salary, and it's not by the law, it's usually not confidential like a business secret, but on the other hand, like the employer wouldn't want it to be somebody to spread it around. So make sure that the salary only stays with you or with the close people that you know that the salary information. So I would take a notebook personally, but on the other hand, some employers are watching how fast do you write on the laptop and stuff. But nowadays, I don't think it's that big of an issue. I think many people know how to use laptop and how to type very fast there, because that would be the issue if you are like typing very slowly. Then they will see that you're not a very good user of the laptop, and that's already an issue. So yeah, notebook is a better option for now. Maybe after 5 years, I would say that a laptop is better option. But for now, I would stay on notebook. And then, if raining, take an umbrella. Now that's very important because if you arrive there like soaking wet and stuff, and of course they know that there was a bad weather and stuff, but you're going to have to put your clothes somewhere, like and if it's dripping down the rain there, it's in the office, or like you're having very muddy shoes or something like that, it might be an issue. So yeah, make sure that you have the means that to protect yourself from the weather if the weather goes bad. And very important, why I put the exclamation mark here: do not be late. Now that's the most important thing, that employer is going to watch if you are late. If you were late, then they might not hire you, because the others, that if they choose out those 10 people out of 200 and one of them was late and the 9 was on time, then this one of them might be already out. Unless he or she is very qualified to do this job, then I think he or she will be out already from the selection, because it's not good to waste the employer's time, and they are going to consider it as you're not there to waste their time, you're there to make an impression about yourself, and in the future maybe they will think that they will hire you and stuff. So that's very important topic, that it's better to arrive early, like go there and like when you check those Google Maps or Waze or whatever, like those navigation programs, then you make sure that you'll be earlier. Maybe put the time of arrival like 15 minutes earlier or 10 minutes earlier, so you can make it on time. It's never a bad thing to arrive earlier, unless it's too early. So I think if it's an hour early, then might be raising some questions. But if it's like half an hour early, I don't think anyone would pick on you about it. You can wait a little bit longer, and that would be totally fine. And then another thing is that they usually have a reception there about with some people. Make them sure that they will know who you are and what did you come for. You just say that, hello, I'm Greg and I'm coming for the job interview, or I'm coming to the last stage of the job interview, and so on, because that would be, very good way to introduce yourself, and maybe the reception is going to tell you then that, oh wow, good, and or cooler, and I will invite this person or HR or your department manager downstairs, and or yeah, upstairs or whatever, depends how the office layout is, but anyways, they are going to invite this person usually, and that's a very important factor, that you go there and you're brave. If you're not brave, if you're there like, yeah, I'm going to open the door and sit down, and this person is going to just look at you and then at some point ask, who are you? It's very weird impression that you will leave. And remember, maybe this receptionist might be working with you in the future. So yeah, I wouldn't go there and not make myself known, but rather to be making sure that they know that I'm here for the job interview. Because if you arrive, for example, like half an hour early, then it will be very awkward to just watch them like doing their stuff for half an hour, or even if you're on your phone, it's considered pretty rude as well. And for half an hour there, So yeah, break the ice, and then when the manager arrives, then of course, like, shake their hands, and everybody that he or she is going to bring with them. If there is like 5 people interviewing you, shake all of their hands. Really, that's a very good way to leave an impression, because I know that in some parts of the world it's not very common to shake hands, but and avoid it instead. But I think it leaves a strong impression that you are brave, and that's just out of politeness. There's another thing that is getting a good first impression about yourself. And then another thing, yeah, of course, if they offer you coffee, tea, or water, it's a smaller thing than the others, but I think it's good to accept them, because if somebody is offering me coffee, I've noticed that when I take it, then people's basically subconscious works with like this, that if they do something for you, then they already like you better. So if you ask them to do something for you already, even if it's like making just a coffee or tea, or fill up this glass with the water, they might already like you better with a subconscious way. So I would suggest to take it. Of course, it's not like 100% needed or anything. Sometimes you can do without it, but yeah, I suggest you to take it and accept it, because at some parts of the world it's rude when you don't accept it. Especially I've noticed it in the Slavic people. So yeah, it's good to have them. Then questions to prepare for. Very important things. I wanted to make a separate video about it, but I think I will cover it in here already. Very, very common questions in the job interview. I think some of you that might be having a job interview in the past is you got asked these questions as well, and most of them, at least maybe not all of them, but most of them for sure. And yeah, because all of them, some of them are kind of like questions that are asked by the smart employer. So yeah, let's get into that then. So first thing that they're going to ask you to do in any kind of job interview is tell about yourself. So of course they have studied your CV and your motivation letter. They kind of know who you are, but they want to make sure that you are the same person that you told about yourself in the CV and stuff, because they might have a question later that, let's say that you put in your CV that, oh, I speak French, but actually maybe your like life experience or whatever you're going to talk about yourself might not have this way that you had time to study French. Maybe you were in France for like 1 month. Then they will have the question that, do you really know about French? You know, these kind of things might come out with this question, and you have to be very precise about yourself. You need to choose which kind of information to share and which one not to share, and that's very important because I've noticed that sometimes it's for example, if you have 5 different jobs in the past, like I did, for example, or more than 5, you know, or maybe I had, yeah, anyways, I had at least 4 plus different jobs in the past, but I will just mention the previous one, or the one that goes the most together with this new job that I am going to apply to. And I'm not going to really, yeah, it's usually the last job. I'm not going to go over the others because that would be too long, and they can ask about them as well if they need to, and they are going to ask about it usually. So tell about yourself should be a short summary, like who you are, what did you study in the university or in the high school, and what are you motivated to do, and what did you see in the job post, and so on. Like maybe you don't even have to tell about your age because they can see it in your CV, but yeah, you can make a joke about it. For example, yeah, and by the way, anybody that is curious, I'm like, 24 or something, you know. But anyways, yeah, I think it's good to mention those things and speak the ones that you are like truly proud of, and truly that you truly mean that, to be honest, and give some hints also that you are the one that is what you are focused to. So basically some jobs might be, let's say that you don't like changes in the job. So there was like in the previous place there was too many changes in the job, and you don't like the changes. Then yeah, say about truthfully that basically, yeah, I was working for Amazon, but I didn't like that they were changing their like IT system for too many times. So yeah, it's okay, but it's not a good thing to mention, but it at least shows that you are truthful, and sometimes the honest people are the ones that is chased down by the employers. So if you just say about good things and you don't mention anything bad, then yeah, they will have some questions about you, and that's what usually good employers do, and good managers will know about this. So yeah, tell about yourself is usually basically just where you studied, where you were working, what kind of works goes together with this one, and what is your future plans. And yeah, so about that, and maybe even to mention a little bit of your family life here, because they usually cannot read it out from the CV, and that will make them feel maybe you're trusting them already with this information. Might be good to mention sometimes. Then it's also why us. That's very common question by the employer. That why did you choose to apply to this company? Why this Craig chose to apply to Amazon, for example? And then you can say that, yeah, well, I was choosing Amazon because I found it very fascinating that you deliver a lot of parcels around the world, and you're a very big company. I was kind of like aiming big companies and so on. Yeah, that's a good question to prepare for, but depends on the information. And with the smaller companies also, you can say that what attracts you, and you like this kind of like maybe startup vibe, and to do a lot of job and have a lot of responsibilities. It's also good to mention that those things, and this goes together with this next question, that what attracted you with the position, that your position was requiring some skills, and maybe you can say that, oh, I like these things because this skills is like maybe very responsible, because that's always good thing to mention, these things like responsibility, because every employer thinks that their job is basically very intense, but and has a lot of workload. So if you like the workload, it's good to mention it here, that you feel that something actually gets done. It's like hands-on, maybe can attract you with these positions. It's good to mention those things, and maybe also that in the job post there was like teamwork mentioned. You can like bring it out from this topic, that yeah, I saw that you are looking for team players. I'm kind of like a team player myself, and so on. It's very important, and how it connects to this mission of the company, because usually they have those missions and visions in the company's page. Of course, like this is totally like sometimes it's like going too much in detail, because the first thing that you are attracted with the position is about the salary. Is no matter if you're young or old. Young, of course, like focus only on the salary most of the time, but and other values also there sometimes, because there might be a bad boss or anything like that, but it's very important that you are focusing on the aspects that they want to hear. So you are not lying, but you are just leaving out the salary part here, because you cannot just like say that, oh, I was attracted with the position because of the high pay, because some of them might not even have the high pay, and they're going to sell you that later. But anyways, yeah, you cannot really say that, yeah, that was the main reason, or so like this kind of like events and stuff, and I like that the collective has a lot of events and stuff, is something that they will see as basically you're trying to rip off the company as much as you can. So it's not good to focus into this salary light, or this common events light, but more on this thing that is actually like useful in the everyday job. Like, yeah, workload is good to mention if you like high workload. Responsibility also, that you are responsible for some certain area, very good to mention. And team player is always good to mention as well. So yeah, it's because usually you're working in a team, unless you are like doing your own thing in like programming or something. Even in programming, I think you're working in a team. So yeah, it's good to mention those things, and say that you are a very good communicator and very good negotiator is also very good. Yeah, sorry, I'm using the word very too much, but anyways, yeah, negotiations, tactics, and this these things also matter in this job position. And then we go over to the fourth question: what did you do in previous jobs? So that's something that should come pretty easily, because it's you maybe if you didn't have a job, you don't even have to deal with this question if you are going to the entry level. But if you had a previous position, you usually know what you actually did in your everyday routine. So maybe you were like dealing with some kind of like complaints, or dealing with some kind of orders, or putting some the orders to work. Sometimes you're doing just your part of the team, like I don't know, like drawing or scheming or something like that. And you just have to mention what did you do exactly in your previous jobs. So that's pretty easy. You usually have like 3 or 4 things to mention that you mentioned in the CV anyways, and you can tell them in more detail about it. And yeah, it's good also here to tell them about the facts that you had as good results in your jobs. People want to see in a good light, things in a good light. So if you see that your job has created some very positive value in the past, then bring it out to the table. And if you, for example, was having a huge job load, and having, let's say that if you are like applying to Amazon, for example, if you were dealing with I don't know, like 1,000 parcels in a day, which is very unlikely. But anyways, if you did something like this, you get the idea that it's good to bring out these kind of things. And then they will be, oh wow, cool, and I didn't know that this kind of side is here also. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff like this. Or maybe I was like building a like user experience to Amazon and stuff, or I was a moderator, and how many issues in the like day I did, because this topic is basically just you're speaking about it. You're not writing it down anywhere, and it will not be that you are like telling out the business secrets, because they are not recording the job meeting usually, job interview. And the other thing is that you are not already working in there, so the times have changed, and they might not have like 1,000 parcels in a day, they might have 1,200 parcels in a day already, or something like that. You get the idea. Basically you can tell about these kind of things, and it's good to bring out some facts that you was actually done. Might be subjective as well, but I would prefer the one that is actually based on the facts, not about some subjective opinion. And it's good to show them that you are seeing things in a positive light, because if you are too negative about your previous job, that it happened like this, it happened like that, but I didn't enjoy it, and then they might not want to hire you there, because they are seeing you as not very committed to this, or not very motivated to do this kind of job as well. Maybe it goes together with your previous job or something like that, or is similar to it. That usually is the case, because you can apply for some other jobs that are completely outside of the box, but if you apply for the similar position, then it is like this, that if you didn't like your last job, if you were getting tired of it, then usually they're not going to risk with it. They are going to go for the other candidates about this. And I wouldn't show the company in a bad light in here, in this question. Also, why did you leave previous jobs? Now that's the question that a very wise employer asks, but nowadays it's become a very common question. And that's also a very important question, because like I said in the last point, you cannot show the company in a very bad light usually, but you cannot say that, oh, I was living in my own wish, and after like 2 months or so, then they are thinking that maybe you don't want to work here also for more than like 2 months. So I don't think, yeah, it's good to mention that. I think what would be the good mention uh, would be that basically there was you have to basically show in light, even if it's the smallest reason, that why did you leave the previous job. If there is like multiple reasons, choose the one that is the least hurting for the new employer to hear. Because if you're like telling that, oh, I had this job argument about this job, and manual for my job was not like changed in a time, and I was doing some extra tasks and so on, that this is not going to show it in a good light. So I think you have to be honest here, of course, because you cannot lie about it. But you have to show it in a very good light, and that's a very difficult thing to do sometimes. And sometimes it's good to see that, show that, yeah, maybe the tasks weren't the same anymore, or they give me an extra load and I already had a big load. It's okay to mention, because then they know that, yeah, you got an extra load from the employer for no reason. It's okay. And if you didn't have a job argument about it, if you're just left on your own wish, for example, then it's not. It's okay to mention, or something that you were laid off, for example, is also a good thing to mention, that oh, they were laying me off because in their restructuring purposes they lost one position. So that's another in a decent light to display. I mean, it's not the best thing to mention all the time, but this is the question that you will have to think about the most before you go to the job interview, because if they're going to ask this question, you have to be prepared for it. And yeah, for me, for example, as well, I had around, yeah, like 4+ different jobs, and most of them was having a job argument in the end, or something that companies trying to rip you off in the first as a first reaction. And that has been pretty ugly, and I'm not going to show them in this light. I was showing them in a different light. For example, when I was studying in the like university or so, then I was like telling them, oh, I did the practical training. So that's another thing that you can mention, that if you have a practical training, it's already something that is different from the real job. And if you can, for example, had many of them in different companies, then you can already categorize all of them in the practical training, and the employer will understand. So yeah, it's good to show this kind of light to it if you had many jobs, because they're also going to ask that, oh, you had many jobs but you left in like 2 months there, 2 months there. It's also a difficult question what they can ask from you if you are this kind of person that wants new challenges all the time, and the employer didn't allow you to do that. So yeah, you will have to think a lot about this question. I was giving some suggestions what to do to show it in a good light, and also that maybe what companies are using nowadays, maybe they use something like evil things. Like, for example, yeah, they are saying that, oh, we need to like get rid of one person in the company, but let's see who is going to sign the papers, and you were the one that was signing the papers. Then you can also bring it out, because it's okay. They will understand it as well, because if you get like fooled once, you're not getting fooled twice. But the thing is that they are going to see this company as a bad company, and they wouldn't see them as a bad company if you tell them that yeah, you kind of like didn't manage to do your workload, and there was too much job or too many changes, because there might be too many changes in this job as well, and they're not going to hire because of that. So yeah, it's sorry that I was stopping at this topic for a long time, but it's a very important topic in a sense, and you will have to think it true in the employer's perspective. What do they want to see? Why did you leave from the previous jobs? And don't lie about it. Just show it in a less harmful way. It's not about lying. It's just hiding some information about it. Maybe there was like millions of reasons why you left the previous jobs, but you don't have to bring them all up. You just have to bring out one reason, and I would choose the less impactful one. So, how long do you see yourself doing this job? That's another topic that sometimes companies want to hire you for many years because they are not going to win anything if you are like their let's say that you passed your probation period and you're going to stay 2 months after probation period, then you were pretty expensive for them because they provide you all the tools, maybe the like cell phone, and they were buying you like home office stuff or whatever, or giving you jackets and everything like that. It's sweaters, shirts, pants, work clothes if you're doing physical job. It's millions of things that they can provide you to do this job, and they want you usually to tell them that you are there for the long time if needed. If you're a good employee, then they're going to give you for a long time. And I think in the job interview, I've never seen an employer that is going to say in the job interview that they want to see you there for a short time. They want to see you there for a long time. Of course, if something goes wrong in this time, then they're going to change their minds, but that's not the case here. This question is about what is your future plans, basically. So where do you see yourself in 5 years is also one of these questions that is related to this topic. But also very important thing, another thing is that sometimes the employer is going to discriminate you based on the answer. Not publicly, but they are going to think their own thoughts about you. If you're like saying that you are like kid oriented or you like kids, or maybe you want to have a kid soon, it's very important to keep in mind that you are not going to share this information with them. You're not going to say that, after 1 year I want to start my own business. You have to say to them that I see myself like doing it for a long time because this sounds very interesting job to do. Not that you're going to collect money for like a year and then start your own business. They don't want to hear that. So even if you do want to do this, if it is your dream to open your own business after a year of gathering the funds for it, then don't mention it. You just mention that it seems like an interesting job, so I think we could do it for some time. So this is to put it in a different light as well. It's not a complete lie, it's like half lie, because you're hiding some information. But it's important to mention this, and also about your studies. Don't mention them. That if you have, for example, like you're going to work in a spring, and then maybe after summer you can work like part-time because you have a school or university, or you're going to do your masters or something like that. Don't mention it immediately, like mention it a little bit later, maybe 1 month before it starts, but you cannot mention this because this is your trump card, and you cannot just show all the cards to your opponent at this point. Because remember, the employer might be your friend, but might be also your enemy. And nowadays in the office level, they're kind of making you to feel like you're the friend, but actually when it comes down to the like changing your contract, if you will become their enemy, you will become something that they wouldn't like, because if you're asking for like specific conditions from them, they're not going to like it because they are the ones that are making the conditions for you. So that's how they see it, but you have to keep some leverage to yourself as well. It's I've seen that, of course, like some of my colleagues going to study and so, but they are also not mentioning this, that they are they are going to study, and suddenly like it becomes as an information. Of course the manager is upset and everything, but honestly I don't blame them, because if the manager knew about it earlier, then he or she wouldn't have gotten this job in the first place. So it's important to focus on the area that these two are very very common questions to ask, and I think they are wise to ask from the employer side, but at the same time you have to kind of know what you're going to answer into this kind of question. Be ready for it. And then remote work nowadays is very remote. I mean, a lot of people do remote work, and when you're going for the new job, some of the companies offer you remote opportunities, some of them don't. So it's also kind of iffy subject. It depends on where you're working. But as I've seen it right now after COVID, it kind of has come back to the office. So the employers kind of want people to come back to the office to talk with their colleagues, to learn about stuff, especially on the probation period. So what I would suggest, don't fight out your remote work in the first go, because that's what separates you from the others. The others are like, oh, I have this condition that I have to work from home 4 times a week because I have a small kid and stuff. But that's not what attracts the employer. So you have to think about it in the employer's perspective, that if you are on the probation period, can he or she trust you in the home office? They can't, because like basically you're just working there. You are there for your first month and then you are already going to the home office. It's a tricky situation. I know that many of the people with kids have to stay at home a lot of times, and they cannot work in some other way. But you have to be very qualified to get this kind of option or have this kind of job, like I don't know, IT or something. But if I was an employer, I would hire somebody that wants to go to the office for the probation period at least, so I can trust them later. Honestly, like this is of course I like remote work as well as an employee, but that doesn't mean that I can already get it in the first 4 months. So yeah, that's the issue. So remote work, yeah, sometimes you need to have it. I know that with the kids you need to have it and stuff, but be mindful of that. Maybe you can do some compromises about it. You don't maybe you don't need 4 days a week. Maybe your partner can like take care of the kid as well and do a remote job as well sometimes. So maybe it can be like, instead of 4 it can be 2 already. And 2 days remotely, I think it's already a better deal than if you're there like basically only once a week or once a month there in the office. I know that there's people that do better work at home than in the office, because at home you wake up earlier and you can be more focused, especially when it's open office. But at the same time, and especially if you have like focusing problems, but at the same time I kind of think that people are very easy to make it up. They are telling it because to have better conditions, but at the same time I don't really believe them that they need to work from home 4 full days because they need to focus. And because there's other ways to focus nowadays in the office. It's usually like those phone booths where you can work in if needed. You can focus. There's focus rooms in the offices, and yeah, even you can tell about your boss about this problem, but in general they would charge you based on that as well. If somebody wants to be in the office all the time and somebody that wants to be remote working all the time, then they might pick the one that wants to be in the office. So you have to think about this perspective as well. How much leverage do you have? Because these things they are giving you some kind of leverage, but if also you are too truthful about it or too serious about it, then they might not bother with you. and get the other guy in anyways. So yeah, and what is your salary expectation? That's very common question as well, that the employers always like to ask. But it's good that if the salary is already displayed annually and in the web. But of course, if they don't have it, then they're going to ask you that, because they want you to tell how much salary do you need compared with others. Now this is very important to follow here the news again. What is the average salary in your country? And not only the average but the median is more important as well. Yeah, it's good to follow those things. And salary expectation is something that you cannot get too high of, because if you are overqualified, then sometimes they don't want to hire you. And the same thing if you're asking too much salary, if you think that you will be like straight out of the school, you have this degree, and now you're going to get a good salary immediately, then usually it's not the case. Usually you have to do some shitty job first and then get a good salary later. So yeah, I think it's good to put it in a way that the employer can actually pay you this kind of salary, or might be similar to the positions that are working there. Of course, if you applied for you are very qualified and you applied for the position that also needs a qualified person, then put the honest salary expectation there, because otherwise they're not going to change it later. Basically, sometimes there is like a renewal of salary every year in some companies, but not in every company. So unless you are going to speak about your salary soon or immediately, then they are not going to lift it, or like I would say, get it higher for you. Yeah, it's very important topic also to think about that. If you are straight from the school, then keep in mind that maybe in the market value should be fine, but once you have done the work for like 10 to 15 years already, then ask for the higher salary if you're changing the job, because later on they are not going to change it, and new entries get better salary than the old people there that are working for a long time, because their salaries are not getting raised. They are from some kind of time from 5 years ago or so. So yeah, make sure that you will meet their demands, and make sure that you are worth this salary as well. Because if you're coming straight from the school, you're not usually familiar with the office scene even, and you don't know how to ask for tasks, or really like know how to do the right things yet, because you didn't work in the industry. And you're making mistakes that can be costly for the company. But yeah, at the same time, it's good to have at least a decent salary, so you are not going to die as well, that you can actually like support yourself by doing this. And yeah, this is a difficult topic to talk about, because salary is basically your bread and butter that you will need for doing this job. And it's actually pretty unfair that the employer is always going to ask about it, but they are going to ask about it all the time. So yeah, I would leave it in this. It depends on what kind of company you have the job interview in, because some of the companies also, like, you can see that they can pay more, some of them can pay less. Basically, actually, big companies are paying not so well sometimes for the lower positions, because that's where the money comes from. You have to keep in mind that, because you can offend them with this expectation, and you can basically say that yeah, okay, I want like 5 grand in in a month, and actually like this guy is thinking that he should pay you only like, I don't know, like 3,000 a month or something like that, so yeah, it has to be based on the company, and but maybe if you apply for some kind of smaller company that is not that, the brand is not so known, for example, then they might have better salary for you, and you can negotiate about it better. Because yeah, big companies is usually no. Well, there's some, I mean, exceptions of course, but what I've seen, the trends are that big companies for the lower levels they pay not so well. So you have to keep that in mind, and if you are applying for some bigger company, then maybe try to separate from the others as well, because that's another thing that they're making their final decision based on. So they're making the final decision based on what you say with these kind of questions, what you say like about the future, about remote work expectation and salary expectation. And yeah, so ninth question is actually not very common, but the wise employer should ask this: that if you have referrals in your CV, that can I call to your referrals? So basically, can I just pick up the phone and call them right now? Because if he or she is going to do that, then you need somebody that is actually, available and knows that you referred them and has good impression of you. So yeah, even if you don't know who to refer, maybe your uncle or somebody can refer you or something like that, who is connected with the scene. But yeah, it's good to have a referral. Make sure that they know about it. Make the agreements with them, and make sure that the employer can call them if needed. This is something that only the brave employer does. But sometimes with this question, they want to see how you react. So if you are like brave enough to say that yes, obviously you can call them, or like you're like a little bit hesitant and say, oh, yeah, I guess it's a big difference. Sometimes they want somebody that is very brave, or very like is not afraid about this. So yeah, it's about a wise employer can ask you this kind of question. And then question is what you prepare for your job interview before. Might be like, let us know what you know about the industry. That's actually not very common question that I've been asked, but you were preparing for it. So while answering to those other 9 questions, you can mention some stuff about the industry already to make them know that you know about the industry. But it's sometimes they have a question that is asking you, what kind of questions do you want to ask from us? And that should be about the industry, because maybe something was unclear while you studied the topic, or you were making notes or summary, or you didn't understand one part. Let us know, like ask them about it, and they are going to explain you, and they're going to be very happy to explain you about it. And that's how you can get your competitive advantage as well. So if in case, like, let's say that you filled all the conditions but you wanted to do remote work, if you are answering this question very very well, then it shows that you are actually qualified to do this. And also, if you are asking them some questions, they usually want you to ask like at least 3 questions. So that's another thing that you can do, and you can ask the questions from them as well. They will have time for it, and want to know about the industry. You show them that you're motivated. You're showing them that you care about this job, and you want to work here. And if you have already talked about your salary expectation or like salary conditions, sometimes even companies say after the salary expectation, they say that what is the real salary there for this position is because maybe sometimes they can get some people that are willing to negotiate the salary. So in case they are like, let's say in this question they are saying that, okay, we are not offering you 5 grand a month, but we are going to offer you 3 grand a month. Like for this position we have issued 3 grand a month, and then you are like thinking that if it would be okay for you, but it's like now or never, right? Because you cannot really postpone it anymore. So you will have to think about it, that how low will you go? You can start off obviously with 5 grand, and then if it doesn't work out, if they are going to offer you 3 grand, then you can, you know that your limit is like 3,500. Then I mean, just say them that sorry, but I cannot go lower than 3,500 for this. Then they're going to basically say that if they're going to follow up this interview or continue with this interview, or you're like sent home. And then you know, if you know, you know, it's better for you. You're not wasting any more time. But basically, if they say that they can go up to 3,500, it might be a win, because you were saying that maybe 5,000 to start off the negotiation, but the realistic one that you wanted was like 4 grand. Then it's also okay. Like, 3,500 is okay for the work as well. It depends, of course, where you live, but yeah, it's like this. And let us know about the industry. Yes, it's very very common as well, this question, and that then you will know that after that that you know about something already. And yeah, I think that's kind of it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, but I honestly don't know if anybody's even watching those videos right now. I'm not going to quit because it's my hobby after all, but I would say that it's pretty difficult to do this kind of videos if there's not like just a couple of people watching. It's I save a couple of people maybe sometimes, but yeah, it's already good. I kind of feel a sense of achievement if I save a couple of people's lives here, because this job is basically very important decision in your life, right? Like, what kind of job are you doing, and what kind of path of life are you going to walk to? And this is not that somebody can just tell you what to do, right? I'm just giving you suggestions and experiences what I have been through, and I've been through a lot with this, honestly, like with the job search and stuff. So if you want me to do more videos about that, of course I'm going to continue doing that anyways, but it's just to show appreciation. You can always hit the like button, and I don't like to beg for likes, but right now I kind of need to get going with this channel. So yeah, it would be very appreciated if you can find the time to subscribe or hit the like button or whatever. And let me know if you don't agree with me, if you have your own ideas or you agree with me and you want this to spread somewhere, then you can also spread. I don't mind, you can share these videos. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time.